Welcome back, everyone. This is a 2industry podcast show, all the above. My name is Hill, as you can see from my fancy name tag, HIL. I have Mike Games here in the middle, and I have Andric manning the far left. Recently, what just happened was the VGA That's what they're calling it right
Yeah, the
now.
VGX.
X is for extreme.
X is for extreme on Spike TV because Spike is manly, and what we really want to know is, are gaming award shows really important? Like, what do they mean? Like, is that something that we really need? We had a whole list of gaming awards. We had the Game of the Year, which was Grand Theft Auto 5. Everybody was like, okay, we're great with that. Neglected all the rest of the developers that have spent all their hard work, especially the Last of Us folks, Naughty Dog.
That being said, though, I don't know. Rockstar did a lot of good things.
I know.
And they spent a long time.
Hey, look, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Right,
you're
right.
clearly right, but I mean, I want to get your opinions right off the back. Do we need them? First and foremost, is it important for us to have a gaming award show compared to like music award shows and Oscars and Emmys? What do you think? Go for it.
I mean, yeah, I think we do need them.
I mean, why?
Just to kind of give credit to all the hard work of
Right.
those developers and stuff. But I think they could be better
Managed.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't, because what's interesting is like all these music award shows, kind of throw out MTV if you want, and like Oscars and Emmys, everything is more sophisticated. Whereas in the video game show, they try to make it such a kind of adrenaline rushed and corny comedy kind of entertainment
I think,
spectacle.
yeah, and I think
Well, that's only the VGXs, I think.
That's
there's-
my point.
There's a one in Europe, and I forgot what it's called, and they're very subdued, and they're very more they're a lot more professional.
Would that be the GDC like award show or something?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
I forgot
correct
what
us if y'all can figure out the answer. If you're on Google for us, could you Google it? Yes.
it- right. Hey, can you Bing that?
But yeah, like it's supposed to be kind of a congratulations, and because developers spend so much time nowadays into putting all their efforts into these works, and to just nonchalantly give them an award and say, hey, you win Game of the Year and these other folks don't, or you win Character of the Year and you win Sports Game, and like, who's voting? Who's doing the voting?
well, in these in certain of the categories, the
Mm.
fans actually voted.
Okay.
I just think that the VGX was, I think, like you were saying, poorly managed.
Okay. Like,
Um,
give me an example.
They were broadcasting it to the wrong demographic, I think, or they were tailoring it to the wrong demographic. I mean, they were making fun of the
I don't think
people that play video
I don't
games.
think it was the show's fault. It was the host's fault, and it was Joe McHale. He
Yeah.
was awful. Like, and nothing to say against Joe McHale, because I actually like him as an actor.
Right.
And even on The Soup, I think he's funny.
Right.
But you could obviously tell this guy doesn't play games.
Right.
They could have gotten like I think somebody mentioned like Chris Hardwick
Right.
or just
An
a
actual
robot.
gamer.
An actual gamer, even Kevin Pereira. Like, what is he doing? He could definitely do that.
Right. Because could you imagine like a host just coming on the Oscars just shitting on movies?
Yeah, he's just like,
oh well, who watches movies? You're a bunch of shitheads.
Right. I mean, it's one thing to kind of make fun of it and take little jabs
Right.
every now and then. It's another thing to do it every time they talk about games. Like, and the whole thing is games. It's like every time they brought up the thing, it's like everything I saw was him just being a dumbass.
Right. And
he did-
oh, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just gonna say that he didn't know anything about games.
Right.
I mean, and it wasn't only Joel McHale, but even those guys that they got to present for them, I guess to present the music from Grand Theft Auto,
Mm.
they were also acting like a bunch of dumbasses. I mean,
They didn't
yeah.
present themselves very well. Is that
no,
Well,
they
I
were
mean,
just
I don't even listen to that when they have bands on there. I'm like, why is there a band on here? Like,
yeah.
it's for entertainment value? They're
it's-
like, they need to be entertained, because I mean, in this whole idea of that video gamers are just a bunch of clowns and things of that nature is getting old. And if you base your whole awards show around that ideology, then it's gonna
Well-
become subpar. And a lot of people don't, even though we try to the media always tries to make the Spike TV VGA awards kind of a big deal. Everyone's always disappointed right after them, and it's not because of the award pick. It's just about the presentation.
But I don't think it's that only. Like I said, I think they haven't updated who plays games. They were tailoring it to only guys are watching this, and they kind of
Right.
also left out. There's
Right.
also a pretty large group of
Ladies,
gamers
right?
that are female.
Right.
What?
and well, I mean, it is on Spike TV,
Yeah.
so that's the first sign that's showing. We think in our mindset that games are only catered to guys.
Right.
So that's probably not going to change because of the network that it's on, unless it moves onto another network. And I mean, what other network would take the VGA?
Well, actually, I think MTV would.
What MTV would do is just mix it into with the music awards and say, "Hey, we can save
Which is
a
fine. I mean, who like the video awards? I mean, I can't even remember the last video I saw on MTV.
They still make them.
Wait,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
music videos on MTV.
Right. Exactly. So, but yet they still have an award show for it. So
Don't get me started on that. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I was like, well, there are a lot of places that could do it and not make fun of the audience.
Okay. Well, going back to the point I had earlier, what about like just the selections of what they felt like was best game or was best this and that? You're saying that was votes from fans.
Well, some of them.
Some of them.
Some of them. Do you know which ones? Do you
Game of
remember?
the year was.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Because I mean that was a safe bet. A lot of people would have probably swayed towards The Last of Us because it probably had more meaningful impact. Because Grand Theft Auto was brilliant.
Well, you gotta look at it like this: like, Last of Us was only on PlayStation 4.
That's a
right.
good point.
Grand Theft Auto was on multi-platforms.
Well, how would you measure that in the future then? Say like if you have the new let's say if Metal Gear Solid was the same how it's been in the past, where it
Right.
only was on one system, or even like a Final Fantasy game that was very extraordinary. Do you
Those
measure
are
it?
multi-platform too, though.
Well, I'm saying like back then,
Yeah.
if they were just
well,
on
now
one
you
platform.
would be like Nintendo. Like a
Okay,
Nintendo
let's
game.
say yeah. So would a Mario game ever win like a
No.
game of the year?
Not now, especially not with the Wii U. But
I'm speaking of hypotheticals here.
should
Goddamn it.
it have been like listed as one of the top games of the year? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the new Mario 3D is amazing. It should have been listed. I don't know if it was even a nominee, but it's it's one of those things that I mean, I think the only games that are going to win are multi-platform games.
And for example, like it felt like they kind of gave BioShock Infinite like this consolation prize of like best shooter. Even I would make a good bet. Even Kevin Levine doesn't feel like BioShock Infinite is the best shooter because that wasn't the whole focus of the entire game.
Yeah, it was more of the story.
That's what I'm saying, and I really feel like those that are kind of picking the awards are just kind of, I don't know, just handing it out arbitrarily. So is this something that's really necessary? Because and also I want to point out like all these other review sites and all these other gaming medias out there, they have their own best of the year, and we pay attention way more to those than we do the VGAs.
Yeah, it's funny thing about that because now it seems like most of the game of the years, your top 10 lists, whatever sites coming out with, most gamers know which sites they're going to go to,
Right.
Yeah.
and see what they want. And then the VGX was trying to do some weird happy medium where it was like it was still on TV, but the hardcore gamer would go watch 3 hours of Joel McHale making fun of them, and it was this weird experiment that failed flat.
It was ambitious.
I wouldn't even say that. It was a failure. It wasn't ambitious. It was a failure.
So if it was a failure, okay. Well, do you think it will ever be a avenue for developers to kind of announce new games
Yeah.
in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made
Actually-
some announcements. I mean, Telltale had so many announcements. The Bioshock.
And that's
Tales.
a little game company that could, man. Telltale. It's like they found their formula, I think, now.
Yeah.
I think I believe that a lot of developers are probably jaded by the VGA because the VGA doesn't take itself so seriously. So they're probably not going to look at it as a medium to actually announce new games. The reason why Telltale actually is announcing games. They won last year. They won Game of the Year last year, so they felt favoritism by that group. Whereas these other developers, they're like, well, shit. Not only are you shitting on our fans that buy our games, but also you are, you don't. I could see a developer at home saying, you don't even know what Game of the Year is, or best shooter is, or
Right.
best sports game.
Right.
You know, because granted, I felt like the best one of the best awards that they gave was the character, like best character was the Twist twins. I thought that was very clever of them to say, hey, you know what, them collectively as a character really worked.
Right.
So someone really thought of that, or they were out of ideas. What do you think?
No. I mean, like I said, it was a nice experiment, and it fell flat. And I think most gamers do. Like I said, they go to those websites that they want to
Okay.
check out.
And you felt like it was just the whole presentation, or just the host just killed it by itself. So if we took out that
If
host,
I
and
took
put
it, see, I didn't watch the 3 hour one because I was at work.
Unfortunately,
I
I
was at
did.
work. Yeah, so Mike did, and I did see a lot of things on the internet with Joe McHale, and I'm glad I didn't watch it because I was cringing when I was watching this stuff. I was like, I couldn't watch it because it was just uncomfortable.
wow.
And
Oh, yeah.
the way he would just bring up other two rival companies and
Actually, yeah, I cringed when that happened.
What
So,
did he say?
he brought out the president of Nintendo America, and
Phil
he ended up asking him, so,
Reggie, right?
yeah,
Reggie, yeah.
Reggie. And Joe McHale asked him, so what do you guys think of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One?
It was
I
like,
didn't see that part.
Yeah,
There was an
he
awkward
was
silence.
just being an ass. It's like at
That's
that point he's
fucked
just
up.
being an ass. It's like asking Coke, "Hey, what do you think of Pepsi's?"
But not only that, afterwards he didn't know what to ask. So he's like, so how much money have you guys made?
Is that what he asked?
Yeah.
And his
Man,
go-to joke, and if you don't know this, Joe McHale, I'm going to tell you because I'm sure you do, is that your Ryan Seacrest joke. It's like his go-to. Whenever he's feeling uncomfortable, he just says that joke
Yeah.
in any situation. Because Ryan Seacrest apparently is just the butt of the joke
Yeah, and
of
he
life.
Used that a few
Hell, I would
times.
make an argument that Ryan Seacrest could probably have done a better job in the hosted part.
He would have probably done his research.
All right, so we're gonna finish this segment here, and in our next segment, definitely check it out. It's gonna be our part 2, and then our last segment, we're gonna talk about the games that we're playing. So catch you soon.